Hey, CBC. Today I want to talk about Fellowship Pacific. If you're new to our church, you may never have heard of Fellowship Pacific. Some people would call this a denomination or a network of churches. I personally like to call it a family of local churches that is committed to the same statement of faith and the same passion for the gospel and the mission of God. We are so thankful to be a part of this larger group of churches, a larger family that serves the kingdom of God together. Now, by leveraging the collective strength of local churches and different Christian agencies, we get to have a greater kingdom impact, and I am so thankful to be a part of this team. Last week, we were able to participate in something called Impact. Impact is an annual convention for our Fellowship Pacific churches. There's about 100 of us here in BC and Yukon, and there's about 500 of us all across Canada. As we came together last week, we were all so excited to participate in Impact because for the last 2 years, Impact was canceled due to the pandemic. But this time, we brought most of our staff there and we had a great time. Now, if you don't understand what Impact is, here, let me just try to draw a picture for you. Impact, first of all, is a conference. There are many speakers, and there was a great lineup of speakers this year. We got to learn and be encouraged and be inspired and be challenged and even convicted. So we came back refreshed, and I hope that what we were fed with could be something that is used so that we can now minister better here at SDBC as well. And like other conferences, we had an opportunity to network and connect with other leaders. There were many church leaders, but also other agency leaders that we networked with. And it was really good to do that because, like I said, we haven't been able to do this in the last couple of years. So this was truly a great opportunity for us to connect. Secondly, Impact is like a staff retreat for us. Like I said, many of us participated. This was a 3-day event, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And what we did was we stayed at an Airbnb together and we had lots of fun. During the breaks, we went to eat together and we walked around, went to coffee shops, and we got to connect in a meaningful way that we normally wouldn't be able to do if we weren't at an event like this. And for the last couple years, our staff haven't been able to go to a conference or any kind of a retreat, so this was really refreshing. Like any other conference, when we go to something like this, we come back physically tired. However, emotionally and spiritually, we were refreshed. So I'm very thankful for that. And thirdly, Impact is a worship service. Just imagine there's a couple hundred Christian leaders gathered in one room and we're worshiping the one true God, the mighty God. And that is such a powerful experience. In fact, our team really enjoyed it because at home here at SDBC, sometimes, we have other responsibilities during the worship service. But at this event, we were there purely just to worship God. And that was really, really cool for us. We also had Pastor Jason lead in worship for this event. I know that all of us here love Pastor Jason, but Pastor Jason's also very, very appreciated in our fellowship circle. So he was able to lead in worship. Richard was able to serve as part of the tech team. Mary sang as part of the worship team. And Dave Wooten and Jason Uher, they're lay people in our church, and they took some time off of their real jobs to go and serve the Christian leaders there by playing on the worship team as well. So it was really, really cool to see SDBC serving the larger fellowship family. I was also part of the speakers there, and I know earlier I said there was a great lineup of speakers, and trust me, I was by far the weakest link. The other speakers were so phenomenal. Our team was really blessed by this. Now, when I said earlier that we leverage the collective strength of each individual church and agency, I just want to give you a glimpse of what that looks like. There was a couple churches, like a church in Hope and a church in Princeton, that shared stories about the flood relief fund that we collected last year. Do you remember last year we collected funds as a church and sent it to the fellowship family so that they can give it to local churches that are on the grounds helping with people who are struggling with the flood all across BC. So a church in Hope, they shared a story about how there were so many visitors in the city of Hope that couldn't go home because all the highways were closed. So they opened up their church building, and then they went out and they knocked on the windows of all these cars, and then they invited everyone into their church so that they can find shelter. People were so thankful for this church. In fact, one man went back, and a couple months later, he brought his fiance to the church in Hope, and he said, hey, look, this is the pew I slept on when there was that flood and I was stuck here. This church was amazing. They housed not only me, but hundreds of others throughout that week. And then there was another church in Princeton when there was supply chain issues in a remote place like that, they opened up their church resources and they received funds from other churches all across the fellowship, about 100 of us, and then they were able to use those funds to provide the supplies that these people needed all across town. That led to opportunities to share the gospel in meaningful ways where these people were touched by the love of Jesus. STBC, when you gave to that fund, this is what happened. This is what I mean by leveraging the collective strength of many churches to come together to have a greater kingdom impact. I'm so thankful to be a part of the Fellowship Pacific family, and I wanted all of us to know that we're part of something even bigger than what we do here at STBC. We make a great impact for the mission of God, and I am so thrilled that we could be a part of this group. There are other agencies that I want to share about. There's the seminary, Northwest Baptist Seminary. Many of our staff are students or have graduated from that school. There's Baptist Housing, who serves the seniors, but also they fund other ministries. There's New Hope Community Services that serve the refugees and help them feel welcomed as they come to Canada. There's Camp Quanos and Camp Sunnybrae that serve the youth and teach the gospel and show the gospel in meaningful ways to these youths. There's also Vancouver Urban Ministries that equip churches like ours and other individuals so that they can be trained to be Orton Gillingham tutors to serve students with dyslexia so that they can learn for free. There's also Wings, that this is an organization that helps women fleeing domestic violence and sometimes even their children. This is a place where they can feel safe, and our church and our children's ministry have partnered with them in the past. There's also something called the Migrant Workers Ministry that serves the people from Latin America that come to Canada to work on farms, and we support them as they work in a foreign land, but also we share the gospel of Jesus with them. There are so many agencies in our fellowship circle that serves the purposes of God together. When we work together like this, beautiful things are done for the glory of God, and I am so thankful to be a part of the Fellowship Pacific family.